The rain was falling hard outside the most expensive restaurant in the city when Elena Voss looked at the man sitting across from her and decided, in less than 10 seconds, that he was not worth her time. His jacket was clean but old. His shoes were polished but worn at the edges. His hands had small marks of hard work, the kind money could not hide and luxury could not fake. Beside his chair sat a small pink backpack, and on the table was a folded drawing of a little girl holding hands with a man. Elena had expected a businessman. A billionaire. Someone powerful enough to match her world. Instead, her blind date was a poor single dad. And before the first course arrived, she stood up, placed her napkin on the table, and walked away. But what she did not know was that the line of supercars parked outside the restaurant belonged to him. And by the end of that night, Elena Voss would learn that sometimes the richest people in the world are the ones we are quickest to look down on. Before we begin, if you believe kindness is more powerful than money, like this video and subscribe to the channel. Because this story may change the way you judge people forever. Elena Voss was 34 years old, the CEO of Voss International, a luxury investment company known for buying dying brands and turning them into empires. She was brilliant, beautiful, and feared in every boardroom she entered. People stood when she walked in. Investors listened when she spoke. Employees whispered when she passed. But Elena had one weakness. She believed success had a certain appearance. Expensive suit. Luxury watch. Powerful surname. Private driver. Perfect confidence. Anything less felt ordinary to her. And Elena Voss did not have time for ordinary. Her assistant, Clara, had arranged the blind date after months of trying to convince her that life was more than meetings and mergers. His name is Daniel Reed, Clara had said that morning. He is kind, intelligent, and very private. Elena barely looked up from her tablet. What does he do? Clara smiled. He works with cars. Elena raised an eyebrow. A mechanic? Something like that. Elena sighed. Clara, I run a billion-dollar company. I do not have time to sit across from a man who smells like engine oil. He is not what you think. But Elena had already made up her mind. That evening, she arrived at Maison Royale, wearing a fitted black designer dress, diamond earrings, and a confidence sharp enough to cut glass. Every head turned when she entered. The restaurant manager greeted her personally and led her to a private table near the window. Daniel Reed was already there. He stood when she arrived. He was 38, tall, calm, with dark hair neatly combed back and tired but gentle eyes. His navy jacket looked simple. His white shirt had no designer logo. His watch was plain. He carried no arrogance, no loud confidence, no need to impress. That disappointed Elena immediately. Miss Voss, he said warmly. Thank you for coming. Elena is fine, she replied, sitting down. Daniel smiled and sat across from her. For a few seconds, there was silence. Then Elena noticed the pink backpack. You brought a child's bag to a date? Daniel glanced down and smiled softly. My daughter's. I picked her up from art class before coming here. She left it in my car, and I didn't want the crayons melting near the heater. Elena's expression changed. You have a daughter? Yes. Lily. She's 7. And her mother? Daniel's smile faded a little. She passed away 4 years ago. For the first time, Elena paused. There was pain in his voice, quiet and controlled. But instead of listening deeper, she looked at his jacket, his tired eyes, his rough hands. A widower. A single father. Probably struggling. Probably looking for someone stable. Probably not her world. I'm sorry, she said politely. Daniel nodded. Thank you. The waiter brought water. Daniel ordered simply. Elena barely opened the menu. So, she asked, you work with cars? Yes. In a garage? Daniel looked amused, but not offended. You could say that. Elena leaned back. And you thought this was a good match? Daniel looked at her calmly. I thought dinner was a chance to know someone, not inspect their resume. The words were gentle, but they struck her pride. Elena gave a cold smile. I have worked hard for everything I have. I respect ambition. So do I, Daniel said. And I respect people who build something serious. Daniel's eyes moved to the window for a moment, where rain slid down the glass and city lights blurred beyond it. So do I, he repeated. Elena checked her phone. A message from Clara appeared. Be kind. Give him a chance. Elena locked the screen. Daniel noticed. Busy night? Every night is busy when people depend on you. I understand that. Elena almost laughed. Did he? Did this man in a worn jacket understand pressure? Boardrooms? Shareholders? Media? International deals? Then Daniel reached into the pink backpack and pulled out the folded drawing. Lily made this for me today, he said, smiling. She said I should take it anywhere important. Elena looked at the drawing. It was childish, colorful, simple. A little girl holding hands with her father beside a red car. Above them, in uneven letters, it said, Daddy is my hero. Something about it softened the air between them. But Elena quickly looked away. Sweet, she said. Daniel carefully folded it again and placed it back. Then Elena saw his phone light up on the table. The wallpaper was a photo of him and Lily in front of a small house. Not a mansion. Not luxury. Just a modest home with flowers near the door. That was enough for Elena. She placed her napkin on the table. I'm sorry, Daniel. I don't think this is going to work. Daniel looked at her, surprised but calm. We just sat down. I know. But I prefer honesty. We are from very different worlds. Daniel slowly nodded. Different worlds, he repeated. I don't want to waste your time. He looked at her for a moment. Not angry. Not embarrassed. Just disappointed. Then he stood politely. Thank you for being honest. Elena picked up her handbag. Daniel said, Elena. She stopped. I hope one day you meet someone before you measure them. For a second, his words stayed in the air. Then Elena walked away. Outside, under the restaurant canopy, the valet rushed forward with an umbrella. Elena was about to call her driver when she noticed a crowd gathered near the entrance. People were staring at the parking area. A silver Pagani. A black Bugatti. A red Ferrari. A white Lamborghini. All lined up like a private motor show. Elena frowned. Who owns those? She asked the valet. The young man smiled nervously. Mr. Reed, ma'am. Elena turned slowly. Which Mr. Reed? The valet pointed behind her. Daniel had just stepped out of the restaurant, holding the pink backpack in one hand and his old jacket closed against the rain. The valet straightened immediately. Your car is ready, sir. Daniel nodded. Thank you, Marcus. Elena stared as the valet opened the door of the black Bugatti. Daniel placed the pink backpack carefully on the passenger seat. Then he looked at Elena. Not with pride. Not with revenge. Only calm sadness. He got in and drove away. Elena stood frozen in the rain. For the first time in years, she had nothing to say. The next morning, Elena entered her office colder than usual. Clara followed her with coffee and a stack of documents. How was dinner? Clara asked carefully. Elena did not answer. Clara looked at her face. Oh no. What did you do? Elena stopped walking. Who is Daniel Reed? Clara blinked. I told you. He works with cars. Clara. Her assistant sighed. Daniel Reed owns Reed Motors. Elena's face changed. Reed Motors was one of the most exclusive automobile restoration and engineering companies in the world. They built custom supercars for collectors, royalty, and billionaires. Their client list was private. Their waiting list was 5 years long. Their yearly revenue was rumored to be higher than some public companies. Elena slowly sat down. He owns Reed Motors? Yes. Why didn't you tell me? Because I knew you would date his bank account instead of him. Elena looked away. The words hurt because they were true. Clara continued gently. He asked me not to mention his money. He wanted to meet someone who saw him as a father, a man, a human being. Elena remembered his drawing. His worn jacket. His quiet eyes. And then her own words came back. We are from very different worlds. For the first time, Elena felt ashamed. Days passed, but Daniel did not leave her mind. At meetings, she heard his voice. I hope one day you meet someone before you measure them. At home, surrounded by marble floors and silent rooms, she remembered the pink backpack and the drawing that said Daddy is my hero. Elena had everything people admired. But Daniel had something she did not. Someone waiting for him at home. 1 week later, Voss International faced a disaster. A major deal with a luxury automotive brand collapsed overnight. Their investors were furious. Their stock value dropped. Reporters gathered outside the building. Elena's board demanded a solution. The only company capable of saving the deal was Reed Motors. Daniel's company. Elena stared at the proposal on her desk. Clara stood quietly nearby. You need him, Clara said. Elena closed the folder. No. I need his company. Clara looked at her. There is a difference. That afternoon, Elena drove herself to Reed Motors. The building was not what she expected. It was not flashy. It was elegant, quiet, hidden behind tall trees outside the city. Inside, the workshop looked like a museum mixed with a laboratory. Engineers moved carefully around rare cars. Every surface was clean. Every machine looked precise. Every employee seemed proud. At the center of it all stood Daniel Reed, wearing a simple gray work shirt, sleeves rolled up, speaking kindly to a young mechanic. When he saw Elena, he stopped. The room grew quiet. Elena, he said. Daniel. He walked toward her. If this is about dinner, you don't need to apologize. That's exactly why I came. Daniel waited. Elena took a breath. I judged you. I saw your jacket, your daughter's backpack, your simple way of speaking, and I decided you were beneath me. I was wrong. Daniel said nothing. I am sorry. His expression remained calm, but his eyes softened slightly. Thank you. Elena nodded, then looked around. And yes, my company also needs help. Daniel almost smiled. At least you are honest. I'm trying to be. He led her into a glass office overlooking the workshop. On the wall were framed drawings, not awards. Many were from Lily. Cars with smiling faces. A father and daughter. A messy rainbow. In the corner was a photo of Daniel's late wife. Elena looked at it. She was beautiful, she said softly. Daniel nodded. Her name was Maya. She believed I could build this company before I believed it myself. What happened? Daniel looked through the glass at the workers below. Cancer. Fast. Lily was 3. Elena's voice softened. I'm sorry. Daniel sat down. After Maya passed, people told me to sell the shop. Raise my daughter somewhere quiet. Stop chasing impossible dreams. But Lily used to sit on a toolbox and tell me, "Daddy, fix one more car." So I did. One car became 10. 10 became a company. Elena listened differently this time. Not as a CEO. As a human being. Daniel opened her proposal. "I can help your company," he said. "But not because you need saving." "Then why?" "Because hundreds of workers will lose jobs if that deal collapses. I know what it feels like when powerful people make decisions without seeing the families behind them." Elena lowered her eyes. The words were not cruel, but they were honest. Over the next few weeks, Elena and Daniel worked together. At first, it was business. Meetings. Contracts. Strategy. Engineering plans. But slowly, Elena began to see the world Daniel carried. He never missed Lily's school pickup. He knew every employee's name. He ate lunch in the workshop cafeteria, not in a private office. He rejected clients who treated his workers badly, no matter how rich they were. One evening, Elena stayed late at Reed Motors. She found Daniel sitting beside a half-restored red Ferrari, helping Lily with homework. Lily looked up. "Are you the lady who left dinner?" Elena froze. Daniel coughed. "Lily." But Elena knelt beside her. "Yes. I was." "Why?" The question was innocent, but it hit harder than any insult. Elena looked at Daniel, then back at Lily. "Because I made a mistake. I thought I knew who your dad was before I really knew him." Lily frowned. "My dad is the best." Elena smiled gently. "I know that now." Lily studied her, then handed her a crayon. "You can help color the car." Daniel watched quietly as Elena Voss, the billionaire CEO feared by boardrooms across the world, sat on the workshop floor and colored a car with a 7-year-old girl. Something changed that night. Not suddenly. Not like a fairy tale. But slowly, honestly. Elena began to visit without business excuses. Lily started saving drawings for her. Daniel started laughing more around her. And Elena, for the first time in years, stopped performing success and started feeling alive. But the world did not stay quiet. A business magazine discovered their partnership and published a cruel headline. Ice Queen CEO chases single dad billionaire after restaurant humiliation. The story spread fast. Reporters twisted everything. Some said Daniel was using Elena. Others said Elena only returned because she found out he was rich. The board warned her that the scandal could damage the company. Elena sat in the boardroom while directors argued. "You must distance yourself from Reed," one said. "The optics are terrible," another added. Elena listened silently. Then one director said, "People like Reed are emotional liabilities." Elena stood. Every voice stopped. "People like Reed," she repeated. The director swallowed. Elena looked around the room. "Daniel Reed saved this company when none of you had a solution. His engineers protected our workers. His reputation restored our deal. And his character is worth more than every empty suit in this room." No one spoke. Then Elena placed her resignation letter on the table. "If this company requires me to be heartless to look powerful, then I no longer belong here." Clara, standing near the wall, smiled with tears in her eyes. But before the board could respond, Daniel entered the room. He had been called for a final contract discussion, but he had heard enough. "Elena," he said softly, "don't give up what you built because of me." She turned to him. "I'm not giving it up because of you. I'm choosing who I want to become." Daniel looked at her with quiet respect. Then he faced the board. I will complete the partnership under one condition. The chairman leaned forward. What condition? Daniel looked at Elena. She stays. Not as the old Elena Voss. As the leader who finally sees people. The room was silent. The chairman had no choice. The deal was too important. The board accepted. Months later, the partnership became the biggest success in Voss International history. Workers kept their jobs. Reed Motors expanded. Elena changed company policy, creating family support programs, scholarships for employees' children, and fair treatment standards across every brand they owned. But the biggest change was not in the company. It was in Elena. One Saturday afternoon, she stood outside Lily's school, holding a small bouquet after the children's art show. Daniel stood beside her in a simple jacket, smiling as Lily ran toward them with a certificate in her hand. I won! Lily shouted. Daniel lifted her into his arms. Elena clapped, laughing. Then Lily handed Elena a drawing. It showed 3 people standing beside a red car. A father. A daughter. And a woman in a black dress. Above them, Lily had written, "People can change." Elena's eyes filled with tears. Daniel looked at her. She's right, he said. Elena smiled through the tears. I know. That evening, Daniel drove Elena and Lily through the city in the same black Bugatti Elena had seen outside the restaurant. But this time, the car did not impress her. Not the leather seats. Not the engine. Not the money. What impressed her was Lily laughing in the back seat. Daniel's hand resting calmly on the wheel. The feeling of belonging somewhere without needing to prove anything. They stopped outside Maison Royale, the same restaurant where Elena had walked away. Daniel looked at her. Do you want to go in? Elena looked at the entrance, remembering the woman she had been that night. Then she shook her head. No. Why not? She smiled. Because I don't need an expensive table to know the value of the person sitting beside me. Daniel smiled. Lily leaned forward. Can we get burgers instead? Elena laughed. Daniel looked at her. Burgers? Elena nodded. Burgers. And they drove away from the luxury restaurant, past the bright lights, past the people staring at the supercar, past the world that still judged by appearances. Because Elena had finally learned the truth. A poor-looking man can carry a rich heart. A simple jacket can hide a powerful story. A single father can be stronger than any empire. And sometimes, the person you walk away from is the very person life was trying to use to teach you how to become better. So before you judge someone by their clothes, their job, their car, or their past, remember Daniel Reed. The man Elena thought was poor. The father Lily called a hero. The billionaire who never needed to prove his worth. And the woman who almost lost him because she looked at everything except his heart. Money can buy attention. Status can buy respect. Luxury can buy admiration. But only character can earn love. And that is the kind of wealth no one should ever walk away from.